been great. We love Comic-Con because we get to be here for the fans, who are why we get to do what we get to do. So we love it.
Okay, so you just started shooting, right? So you're not that far in, but what can you say about season 3?
It's big so far, for sure. Our first episode is taking us like 11 or 12 days to shoot. We usually get 8. So it's definitely, I feel like we've been shooting an action film or something, which is awesome. And we are headed to Neverland, and we are on a boat, and it is wet and it is messy.
Michael and Paul said kind of, everyone has the same goal. They're going for Henry, and they want to help him, but to do that, all these people who kind of don't really love each other have to work together.
Yeah.
Robert said that kind of goes away, goes out the door, like 2 minutes after you get on the boat. So who is your ally on the boat?
Well, Emma sort of, as always, sort of ends up a lone ranger. She's sort of realizing that even though there are these conflicts on the boat, the conflicts are coming from everyone's sort of desperate desire to get Henry back. The conflict isn't coming from, oh, I hate you and I hate you, and it's coming from this desperate need in everyone's heart to make this right. And sometimes the deepest conflict comes out of that kind of desperation, and so you get to see that happen. And then Emma has had to work things out on her own her whole life, and so she's once again in a situation where she's sort of left to figure out how to make it so that we can overcome those conflicts and come together in order to accomplish what we need to accomplish. Yeah. Emma definitely is put in a position where I think she has no choice. She's definitely not someone who is comfortable with the idea or the word savior, and I don't think she ever will be, but she is a survivor, and so she will do whatever it takes in a moment to survive. If that means backing down, then she'll back down, and if that means leading, then she'll lead. So her decisions are always inspired from a survivor mentality.
Talk about, a love interest for you this season between Neo and Hook. Have you heard anything?
I don't know for sure what's going to happen. I don't know if anyone knows for sure what's going to happen. I do know that it definitely makes it complicated that at this point Emma thinks Neil is probably dead. It's not like she's sure he's alive and hoping to find him. She thinks he's probably dead, which definitely impacts the way she views the rest of her life. I don't think romance is on her mind at all because she's concerned about getting to Henry. But I do think that she is a kindred spirit with Hook and is definitely connected to him in certain ways, and they have a lot in common in terms of their past and their backgrounds and being survivors and having to do whatever it takes to survive in certain ways. And so, I think that there will be a connectedness between her and Hook, and then I don't know what will happen when Neil comes back. She was able to say I love you, but in only the most dire of circumstances, and it's a lot easier to be vulnerable in that moment than it is in a normal moment. And so, there's always going to be some complications there. So I think that they've done a wonderful job of setting up an opportunity for there to be tensions and attractions in both directions.
I think Emma's going to be involved in the Peter Pan aspect.
I think, I know she interacts with him. I think we're all going to be involved in Peter Pan's world now that we're in Neverland. He is sort of the ruler of Neverland. He's the all-powerful in that land. So I think it's just inevitable that we will all be interacting with him in some way.
Are you excited about that? Do you like this twist on Peter Pan and when they pitched it to you?
I do like it. I think that when things are really unexpected, they become very exciting. No one expects Peter Pan to be a villain, and so for them to flip that around and say, this character that we've always thought was this warm, fuzzy, character that we're going to see the darker side of all that, and also the darker side of Neverland. You think, oh, you never grow up, and it's so great, and it's so wonderful, but they all cry themselves to sleep at night because they're lonely. So it's like, so they're really sort of taking stories where you really have only gotten one perspective on it, and when you look at the reality of the flip side of that, you go, oh wait, that really seems possible actually. Like I didn't really think about that because they're all kids who don't have their parents, and they're all heartbroken, so they get to run around and be free and do what kids do, but at the end of the day, they don't have parents. So, and that's heartbreaking. And so they really sort of.
I will
I just think they do such a wonderful job creatively of opening our minds to seeing these stories differently and opening our minds to considering people's circumstances differently. We can all look at things like the grass is always greener, and they're going, sure, if you don't understand what's growing in the grass, and so it really is. I think it's going to be an exciting season because I think this particular land and the rules of this land that they've established open up new possibilities for all of us and sort of force all of us to deal with ourselves. And that means that there's a tremendous amount of depth to the relationships going on, and including between Snow and Charming and Emma and Henry and everyone else, and Neil and Emma at some point, and Hook and Emma and Regina and all of us, and we're forced to deal with our pasts, and we're forced to deal with what's inside of ourselves in this land. And so the sort of intimacy of the emotions this season is going to be at a whole different level.
Will Emma have magic?
Well, Emma has magic.
Yes, but will we see more of that?
I don't know for sure. I don't know how much she's going to embrace that. I think that that's going to be part of this season. Season 2 was really the idea that we are both, and then season 3, I think, is really the idea of who are we truly. If we were once one thing, we were once another, we were once both. So then, who do we choose to be? Like, what percentage of the cursed self and what percentage of the original self is going to stay and be like the core of someone's being? And so this is really a season about self-identity for every character, and I think for Emma, deciding whether or not she wants to deal with magic is going to be part of her journey of her self-identity.
She seemed really apprehensive in season 2 about it. She was like,
she's not comfortable with it. I mean, who would be? It'd be like you being like, oh, I have magical powers. Like, it's weird. I'm not sure how that's going to play out, but I do know that it's something that she definitely struggles with.
Thank you guys so much.